1, 2, 3. We're live. Okay, hi everyone. Scott Lackman, Principal and Licensee of Richardson&Wrench, Caboolture, Queensland.
Hi, I'm Karen George. I'm the Property Management Director of Richardson&Wrench in Caboolture.
So thank you to those joining us, live Facebook feed this afternoon. Wanting to give you an update from our company and also from our experience of 26 years in the industry each, from both a sales and rentals perspective. Our first company update and health statement was on the 16th of March. So for us, we figure it's week 4 of working through COVID-19. And again, we just want to give you this live broadcast this afternoon so that we can put it across as many channels and platforms as possible, that we can get some messages and maybe some direction from those in the industry and working in the field each day to help our clients, landlords, owners, sales, tenants, and our fellow agents in the industry as well. So let's get started, and thanks for those that joined us early in the piece. There's about 20 of you sitting there that listening to some background music before we went live. So let's go, Kaz.
Hi. I wanted to, first of all, before we start, is to show some gratitude and to say thank you to everyone who is working together. You know, we're still a really close-knit community here. Thank you for people joining us on Facebook. For a lot of people, social media is an easy way for them to communicate and get information at the moment. So that's why we've chosen this avenue today. We have been emailing with our landlords and emailing with our tenants in the last few weeks, an update every week, but this was just a different social media way to say thank you. We also want to say thank you for reaching out and looking for answers. You know, getting education and finding what is actually true and what is false and what is just words or what is new legislation is really important for you to make an educated decision, whether you're a landlord, a tenant, you're wanting to sell, buy, rent. The other thing is, as a family, we're very conscious of what people are still doing out in the community. People that are working in our hospitals, people in our health system, our emergency services, the staff at Coles, the staff at Woolworths. Thank you from our family for what you're giving back to our community while this is, you know, such a scary pandemic for us all. Mm-hmm. We appreciate you, and we are grateful that you're putting in the effort every day and giving everything you've got as well when you're a bit scared and you're unknown as well.
I think the final thank you to start with is gratitude to our team.
Our team are amazing. We've changed a few things in relation to the World Health Organisation information to our office to protect our staff, to protect our clients. So we've changed a few things within our office, and they are just handling it brilliantly. And yeah, we're very proud of them. We're always proud of them.
Yep. Very lucky in business since 1st of April 1994, and we'll talk through the discussion on the live this afternoon. Yes. There's been a few roller coasters over that 26 years of being in business, and this is just another one. So if that's the way we best deal with it. So what we wanted to break up is 2 segments. We want to do a full property management and rental update for Queensland related scenarios, yes. And then we'll move to myself to give a full sales market update, which we would normally do each quarter for our platforms of sales updates through 4510 TV and Richardson&Wrench. So Kaz, over to you, rental market update and property management. Okay. I think let's start with, let's break it down, tenants and owners, or yes. Tenants and landlords.
Yes.
Let's start with tenants.
Okay. So let's keep in mind that there are a lot of tenants out there that nothing has changed. While the world is changing around us and the information's on the news every day, there are a lot of tenants that are still working, that are still, you know, having family dinners just with their own family inside. They're still paying their bills, and they're still living in a really clean, upkept house. So there are a lot of people that it hasn't affected, and they're doing brilliant, just keeping in their own little sector. There are a lot of families in tenants that are struggling. So either A, they've had their work reduced, or B, they've lost their jobs. So what we've been trying to do with a tenant update is to direct people to the government organisations and the government places to get the information you need. Let's keep in mind that when the Prime Minister came out on the 3rd of April and said there is a moratorium on evictions, he said those words but there is no change in Queensland legislation to enforce those words. So he meant the right thing. He wanted to reassure people, and he wanted to reassure tenants that you won't be evicted in the next 6 months. However, the Queensland Government have not followed that up yet to bring in new legislation to enforce that. So if you're a tenant, just be mindful of where you're getting information. There are 2 sources that are government sources that you can go to at the moment, and Scott's going to put some information on the screen. The 2 places at the moment that everyone can go to easily is the Hub, which is www.covid19.qld.gov.au, the Hub. It's a central point where you can find information and support affecting renting in Queensland.
Can I ask, Karen, you said the Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, he said the words moratorium on evictions.
Yes.
He did not say a moratorium on paying rent.
No, he did not. He also has not enforced that with any legislation. All right, so everything's still the same. So the information is there on the Hub. The information is also there on the RTA website. The RTA website, remember that the Residential Tenancies Authority, they hold our bonds. They do a lot of paperwork in relation to tenancies in Queensland. Again, though, they don't change any legislation. They're just giving you information. The person who would go to this kind of place for information would be a tenant that genuinely was working as an airline hostess, was working in the Caboolture RSL, that have lost their job, because that's panicking. That's scary. And you may not have been on seeking a job seeker payment previously and not know what to do. So go to one of these websites, follow the links, see what you can get assistance with. Keep in mind there is a Queensland rental grant for up to $500 a week, maximum of $2,000, to genuinely help people affected by COVID-19. That's the first place I'd go if I'd lost my job and I was looking for something that I wasn't sure of how the government could help me. I'd go there.
The immediate hardship assistance.
Immediate hardship assistance, where the Queensland Government have something in writing to say, we will assist you with this money.
Now, we know some statistics as well that will share the average rent in Queensland.
$352 per week.
So if the grant is $500 per week, hopefully that would cover maybe partial arrears that they may have been placed in immediately, and then at least forecasting some protection about their rent payments over the next 4 weeks.
While you get things into action, maybe a job seeker payment through the government. There's so many ways that you may actually even go to a family member and say to a family member, can you just help me out for a couple of weeks until I find another casual job somewhere? It's just, these are information sources for you to go to as a tenant. If you're looking for a house at the moment, let's look from a tenant point of view, because that could be the situation where you've moved from Surfers Paradise from work and you've got a job here in Caboolture. Let me say to you that rentals are still moving very quickly. We are still holding private inspections, not open homes anymore where there's a big herd of us. You're making a one-on-one appointment with the property manager, you're sanitising, you're not touching, you're going through, you're still being able to view the property. So we're still doing that hands-on personal inspections here in Caboolture. We still think that's important for you to come and view the house. We're still processing applications. We're still able to check references, and we just do things a little bit different. We're digitally doing lease paperwork. We're digitally doing your entry condition report, but everything's still the same because that's what the legislation tells us to do. In fact, properties vacant in our rental list at the moment for our office through rentfind.com, the days vacant for any rental property at the moment is only 1.5 days. So they're still moving. They're not sitting there for 4 weeks vacant.
If I put that in a sales perspective, the rental market activity hasn't changed.
Not at all.
Supply and demand hasn't changed. Out of 1,000 properties that you manage, or we manage, only 8 or 9 on the list today. And again, that vacancy rate of only a day or two shows that the supply and demand is there for the current investors in the market who may be concerned that if a tenant was to vacate their property, we are suggesting that finding a replacement tenant is still business as usual.
Market's still busy. So let's talk about tenants who genuinely are scared vulnerable and not sure what to do at the moment, and really are scratching their head and worried at home to say, how do I pay my rent this week?
Yep.
All right. So that is a genuine situation for some people out there. And our values here at our office are to really care about you and trying to guide you into the right place. Remember, it's not our property. We're a property manager, and our service is to educate you, communicate with you, and then negotiate between the landlord and the tenant. And that's our priority. That is what we've been focused on for the last 4 weeks of COVID, is helping you. Take the phone call. If we're not able to take your phone call, please, if you're ringing our office and you're not able to get through to a property manager, leave a message. Someone will come back to you. But our best communication at the moment, we do want to hear your story and we want to speak to you and reach out, but we also want to email. There has to be a paper trail. Everything has to be in writing, especially at times like this. So we may ask you to go onto our website and fill in a hardship application form. We're not trying to be intrusive. We're genuinely trying to help you give as much information as possible to then pass on to the landlord to say, this is the situation we're in, and build that understanding between both parties.
Yep.
That's really important. So if you're with us, you're a Richardson&Wrench tenant and you're having trouble, reach out to us. Remember, we can't physically come out there and help you at the moment, but we will guide you in every way we can to the right resources to get your facts right.
Karen, can we, and for our listeners and viewers, we appreciate you joining in, and this will be available on demand after we finish the live session, and we know your time is valuable as well, but we really want to cover off as many points as possible.
Yes.
So that this is our update on the record today. Can you just touch on a QCAT scenario and explain what QCAT is, or the whole mention of there will be no evictions? Can you explain a scenario that we dealt with in our company yesterday?
Correct, I can. So that probably, let's start that conversation with landlords. So at the moment, if you're a landlord, you should be able to contact our office and communicate with us and just touch base and see how your tenant's going. Have you heard from them? Are they in stress? Is the rent paid? Are they maintaining the property and fulfilling all their obligations that they normally required to under the Residential Tenancies and Rooming Act? The biggest concern with owners at the moment is they've heard, I can't kick the tenant out, even if they got behind, I'm stuck with them for the next 6 months. How am I going to cover the rent? Let me say to you as a landlord, there is no legislation change in Queensland that stops a tenant being asked to vacate the property due to rent arrears. So, for example, yesterday we had applied to QCAT due to 2 tenants, 2 different properties that were in rent arrears, a situation that began prior to COVID-19. These people have not communicated with our office and they have fallen into rent arrears where the correct notices were issued, a remedy to breach, a notice to leave, no communication, and rent arrears. When we went to QCAT yesterday, a little bit odd because we didn't go to the courthouse. We actually did a phone conference with the adjudicator. The adjudicator listened to our story and looked at all our facts of our information, the tenancy agreement, the rental ledger, the whole story. He asked a lot of questions. Were these tenants impacted on COVID-19? Did they understand the repercussions of what was happening? And we explained yes. Now, yesterday we were issued a warrant of possession for 2 properties. A warrant of possession means your tenancy is over, and within the next 14 days, the police will attend the property to gain possession of that property back for the landlord. You've not fulfilled your obligation, so you need to return the property. Now, that is still happening in Caboolture Court yesterday. Whilst that is a terrible, sad part of our business when the agreement is so exhausted that we're not able to compromise and come to save a tenancy, from an owner point of view, you are still protected. So nothing has changed, legislation's still in place, we're still acting on your behalf, and if the tenant doesn't do the right thing and fulfil their obligation, under the legislation, this is what we're doing.
I think it's a good clear message just for on the record today, the 15th of April, that is the status quo from QCAT proceeding in Caboolture, Queensland, and knowing that the facts were historical arrears, breaches of the agreement, and we were able to get that decision to move on in the best interest of the owner.
I also believe QCAT have released quite a large detailed statement on their websites today at 10 o'clock this morning. to tell you that, to say you're welcome to ring us, but it's still the same. It's still the same as it was a month ago. It's still the same as it was 3 years ago. QCAT cannot do anything different, same as until Queensland Parliament. Now remember, Queensland Parliament don't sit again until the 22nd of April, 10 a.m, so another week away. Mm-hmm. Once they sit, then that's the time when we want them to change the legislation to protect landlords and tenants. Let's make sure there's a little bit of both.
Yeah, I definitely there needs to be a compromise from what was announced by MP Mick de Brenner the other day. Is it was still a lot of words, yes. a lot of government words and talk, that caused a bit of outrage, a bit of confusion, a bit of uncertainty, and from there, we're involved in various real estate groups and forums, and also members of the Real Estate Institute of Queensland. It wasn't presented in the best fashion because it has divided opinions between tenants and owners, and agents being the piggy in the middle, so to speak. So let's hope that over the next preceding 6 or 7 days, they consider the best options for legislative changes that benefit all parties. And once again, I think you said it brilliantly in the start. We're a family business. Our culture, our values is to be human first, a real estate agent second, and we'll continue that based on the legislation. Now, even if that legislation has bits and pieces that we may not professionally agree with, we'll run with it and we'll do the best job possible.
That's our job.
That's our job.
But just don't always hear things and then not investigate. Don't listen to something on the news and then ring the real estate the next day and say, oh, well, you can't ask me to leave because there's a moratorium on rent arrears or a moratorium on rental evictions. Read it. Read up. Find the information before, be educated about this. This is really important to a lot of people in their homes. Be educated, or ring and speak to someone here at the office. Again,
links to those resources will be in the recording of this live chat, and thanks for that. I think you covered pretty much. We spoke about tenants' behaviour and tenants' feelings and emotions at the moment, or uncertainty.
Yes.
I think we covered off on owners and landlords of what they might be questioning or thinking at the moment.
Reassurance.
Some procedures that we've adapted in our business, but we've always been very proactive in adapting with technology, procedures, etc. for our business. So there wasn't a great deal of change for us operationally, and we are still, as you said, we're still very operational at the moment. Each day our office is open with a skeleton roster staff, which is working for us for everyone's health and safety.
Yes.
But as I say, there's resources there. Tenants, owners, we've covered our agency. Any final comments for the rental property management update here today?
I would say hang in there. I would say communicate. I would say, Scott and I always talk about, my side of the business is a little bit zen, and I would say to you, take advantage. Take advantage of things. If you're working from home this week, go for a walk. Spend some time with your kids. Again, our culture is about family. Take the time. If you have the day off work and you're at home working, enjoy it. This just may be a way for us to reset a little bit, digitalise, educate ourselves, learn something new. I think that's an opportunity that I'm personally taking with some physical fitness at the moment. Take it.
Yep. Can I've got to interrupt. This is live, but why does your voice change when you talk like a tenant?
I don't know.
All right.
That's brother annoying there.
Just to prove that we are live and we are brother and sister, and there is zen between us, because I think also this environment that we can speak to our audience, a variety of audience. We've got some friends tuning in there. I can see some clients from New South Wales also watching. So thank you for your time to watch this update. And I think it's great. You and I debate a little bit as well. So don't roll your eyes. Okay, let's get on
All right,
to
sales time.
my favourite topic, sales, market and industry update. In all seriousness, we are bringing you this update from our business. But so let's go, sales. So traditionally, we'd give you a market update each quarter of how the industry is performing, and we're talking Queensland specific. And when I talk about these sales results at the moment, we are talking about our 6 core suburbs being Caboolture, Belmere, Alimba, Morayfield, Upper Caboolture and Caboolture South, 6 core suburbs that we service traditionally from Richardson&Wrench Caboolture. And let's look at that. The first quarter for 2020 was going great. Very positive sales results, good stock on the market, some great sales being achieved by our office as well as our fellow agents around town. Some really good activity. And through that first quarter, I'd like to give some statistics. Firstly, average days on market. So for the first quarter, January to March, and I'll talk about the last fortnight of March in just a moment. But looking at days on market, the local average 104 days from list to sell. For our office individually, we got that down to 75 days, so we're a little bit quicker than the average. And in a minute, the last 30 days, we're actually down to 42 days on market for our office, which is almost a third quicker than the market average at the moment. And I'll give you the reason for that. But a good first quarter, good sales, good listings, good stock. We were averaging maybe holding about 70 listings through January, February, March, which is good stock levels for our company. In Caboolture, or in those 6 core suburbs, there was 720 odd properties listed for sale. So again, it's showing that we had about 10% market share across those 6 core suburbs. So tracking very well, good business. January, February, March, a lot of confidence in the market. We saw investors returning that after the whole 2019 banking inquiries and maybe some restrictions on interest-only loans through banking. We sort of came out of that, and I think we came out of the gates pretty strong in January with some confidence back in the market. We saw some investors returning that we may have missed early in 2019. We saw a larger percentage of owner-occupiers moving into the area, so still that migration of people coming from southern states, and even Queensland, whether they're coming from up north or even, as you mentioned earlier, down the Gold Coast. Move from the Gold Coast to Caboolture. It's a bit of a shift, but we were seeing a migration of people coming into the local area, which is great for our economy, our population growth, and just our mix of things happening locally. So it was all very positive. Let's look at the last 30 days being pretty much, as I mentioned before, week 4 of COVID-19, let's say, since we've adapted things. The last 30 days, interestingly enough, for our statistics for our office, the last 14 days of March, we transacted 13 sales in that fortnight. Now, we had a total of 19 sales for the month of March, which was a good month. We averaged 17 to 20 sales per month, so it was a good month for March. But interestingly enough, coincidentally, who knows, but from the middle of March, when COVID raised its ugly head, we had 13 sales in that last fortnight in uncertain territory. Now, people were asking me, what's the market doing, Scott? Well, I didn't really want to commentate too much or be too positive about the results we're achieving, because I didn't want to be seen that we were ignoring possible changes.
The impact that everyone else was under.
We weren't ignoring those impacts. We were dealing with them, and we were making changes in our business. But the day-to-day buying and selling real estate continued in our local market. Now, if I look at the last 14 days, and as I say, that last 30 days, our days on market for our office reduced down to 42 days. Now, I put that down to, we had great stock. We had some beautiful stock out there ranging from affordable $300,000 range to the small acreage 500, up to some very beautiful properties. I think 760 was our highest sale price in that last 30 days. So a variety of stock, and I think that variety of stock really showed in the local market that we were attracting more buyers to our properties because of that stock.
That's something we always specialise in.
Yeah, we always like to have a range of stock to suit any buyer. So I think we really capitalised on that stock that we were holding. Now let's talk about
what's happening now.
Yeah, so here we are. The last 14 days, 1st of April to the 15th of April today, we have seen a drop of stock.
Yes.
At the moment, we're holding 40 properties, not 70 properties.
Yes.
So we've seen less stock, only 3 new listings for the fortnight so far in our office, where, as I said, we'd normally be at maybe 10 listings for the fortnight now. So we've noticed that reduction in stock, but our buyer inquiry is still extremely strong. Now, I've got, sorry, my paper juggle. Now, just in this last 14 days, we're still looking at an average of 23 inquiries per day over the last 14 days for our properties.
So people are at home still looking.
People are at home. Buyer on. If you look at any of the sites, realestate.com, domain.com, they would report to you that their buyer inquiry levels are very high. Now let's look at that statistic for a minute. Does it mean everyone's at home just scrolling through real estate and looking at images? Are they researching? Are they tire kicking? Or are they fair income buyers? Now, when I say fair income buyers, the sales that we have produced in the last 30 days, every buyer I've spoken to, and even with our fellow agents in the office, I've asked them about their clients. Everyone they're dealing with at the moment is in a good financial position. They're strong with their work employment, and they're making informed, confident decisions. They're not speculating, they're making decisions that they would normally make in any real estate market regardless of COVID-19. So that's very interesting, because when we talk about buyers, maybe the buyer pool has minimised, so there's less buyers in the market with the less stock, yes. But those less buyers are genuine buyers. They're making decisions now.
Educated.
So we've missed out on maybe not having, we've stopped the open homes, we're doing the private viewings or the video walkthroughs or the video tours. Maybe that has reduced the amount of buyers that would normally attend our open homes on a Saturday, researching, etc. So the people making appointments and the buyer inquiries at the moment are legitimate, fair income buyers that are ready to make decisions. Now that's very important at the moment, because if we see a continuation of maybe declined stock levels and declined volume of sales, at least we know the people that are making decisions to buy property at the moment are following through on those decisions, and possibly they won't be affected with finance or economic situations. So it is encouraging, but I will say the last 14 days, quite transparently on our platforms, we're slowing, and who knows what that looks like at the moment.
That's good. That's better than stopping.
It's better than stopping.
Slowing is still genuine people looking. Yeah, that's so really important to know.
To back that up, and we've got some staff coming in.
That's our staff coming in quietly.
Should have shut the door. So let's look at that first 3 months. I just want to, this is from CoreLogic. You may not see, I should have put a slide up, but what we're showing is, just to repeat, that first 3 months, the first quarter of 2020, we were on a really good trajectory. These are March 15, March 16, March 17, March 18, 19, March 20. You can quite clearly see the trajectory that Brisbane dwelling values increased by 0.6% in March. Dwelling values increased 1.6% in the quarter. Brisbane dwelling values up by 3.1% over the past 12-month period. And we pretty much hit Brisbane dwellings currently at a record high as of middle of March 2020. So you can see we were going great guns. Yeah. The last fortnight, it's slowed, it's softened. What I do want to say is, part of our real estate update and sales market update, again, if there's any questions whatsoever, we do have a couple of resources that we'll point you to at the moment. One is we have the REIQ, so we're members of the Real Estate Institute of Queensland. We would suggest any property owner or landlord or even a fellow agent should jump onto the REIQ website, follow the coronavirus fast sheets, a comprehensive information regarding the coronavirus and assets for professionals that are managing real estate at the moment. So we suggest jump onto the REIQ. We wholeheartedly support and believe in the moves and the information that they're providing to us at the moment.
Yes.
Again, not saying the wrong thing, but in the absence of clear government direction, it's comforting that we have a real estate governing body, the Real Estate Institute of Queensland, at least giving us some information and some resources that we can continue doing business as best as possible.
They're very vocal, they're very active, they're very informative. From one of the best organisations that we belong to get the right information as a professional. So
we strongly encourage look at those sales resources there for REIQ. Yes. I'll get to the next resource in a moment. But what I wanted to say, I wanted to include a statement today from Brennan Latimer. Now Brennan is a director of Richardson&Wrench projects, part of our Richardson&Wrench projects in national now, New South Wales, Queensland and beyond. Brennan put out this statement today. I'll read it for the viewers, so bear with me. The emergence of COVID-19 in the 2020 economy market has caused unprecedented changes. To date, we have seen drastic swings in the share market, but the property market has remained strong with prices stable. Movements are expected, but some properties will go sideways while others may possibly go down. At the end of the day, investing in real estate is usually a 10 to 20 year game, but there will be a split result in the market with regards to properties, locations and quality. Real estate that isn't good buying due to relative factors such as quality, density, poor strategic location will no doubt feel some pain moving forward. Well-designed real estate in locations with good owner-occupier demand, limited supply and good population growth will continue to perform. Now, I put Caboolture and our core suburbs in that category. Yes. Well-designed location, we're the gateway to the Sunshine Coast, Brisbane, east, west, whichever way you want to go. Caboolture is smack bang in the middle. So I believe we've got the location right. I believe we've got the owner-occupier demand growing. Now, if you had have asked me a couple of years ago, what's the percentage of investment versus owner-occupier in Caboolture and our surrounds, I would have said it would have been a shift, maybe 55% investment, 45% owner-occupier. What I will say today, and from research that I've shown, is we are now possibly looking at a 55% owner-occupier ratio, 45% investment. So the pendulum has swung, and when it swings more to the owner-occupier market, that's where we see supply and demand and growth in our core suburbs. So very positive. Brennan goes on to say, basically, tenants are going to get help, staying in jobs and maintaining ability to pay rent via the wage help from the government that Karen's mentioned earlier. Landlords needing help or not getting rent are able to possibly take mortgage holidays or get financial assistance through their lending institutions. So we are likely to see minimal distressed sales in the market because there won't be a need for distressed sales with all this assistance coming on board. The residential market should stay balanced. The government knows how much, in his words, an absolute beast the residential real estate industry is in the country, so they'll do everything they can in their power to protect it. Now, when I look at that, I'll go to a quick stat. Currently, residential real estate underpins Australia's wealth. $7.1 trillion held in residential real estate compared to $3 trillion held in Australian superannuation, compared to $2 trillion in listed stocks and $1 trillion invested in commercial real estate. So again, 10.4 million houses in Australia. Yes. An outstanding mortgage debt of $1.8 trillion, but the household wealth per house, household wealth held in housing is 52% of the population. So we're dealing with a very big sector that the Australian government, in my opinion, and in most economists' view, are going to do everything they can to protect the residential real estate market.
So tell us what agents are doing to look after each other.
Just let me finish, Brendan.
Come on.
Interrupter. We are live, no mistakes. Interrupter. So big stats there. Taking a look at the next graph, which I did allude to, was that history would tell us that economic downfall may be short-lived, and that capable investors can always take advantage of conditions to generally invest and make good decisions. As always, we can always help with investment listings across Australia, blah, blah, blah. What I want to show you, thanks Brendan, I hope you don't mind me using that and referencing your statement today, because I think it's a very clear picture that we're going to get through this. And what says that to me again, not very clear to the cameras, but we'll put that on another slide, or you can email me or drop a note. What I wanted to go was in the early 90s we had the recession, 1999. Does everyone remember 31st of December 1999? We thought the world was going to end.
2000.
Well, that was shock, and all of a sudden we woke up the next day, the 1st of January 2000, and our computers worked, our bank teller worked, everything worked.
Yes.
So that was another, we talked about roller coasters in our 26 year of business. That was a roller coaster. The dot-com bubble burst. Through 2005 we saw some dips, then on to the global financial crisis leading into 2009, 2010. We then got to 2019 where we had some lending restrictions and some banking issues.
Yes.
But again, every time I look at that slide or look at that graph, every time we dipped, we recovered within 12 months. So, hope.
Yes, it is.
Hope.
It's excellent.
Hope is out there that we will get through this and recover, even if we're softened at the moment. How do we get through this? Well, yes, thank you for the segue.
Stage right.
Back to the slide. There we go. Resources. So resources, we talked about REIQ for our clients, but let's look at a webinar that Glenn Twiddle, he's a sale marketing genius in the real estate industry, and for any industry, when it comes to marketing, Glenn is on track. So what he's organised next Thursday, Stay the Course webinar. It's for agents helping other agents, an in-depth webinar session presented by Glenn Twiddle, and a million special guests. So at this stage, he's planning it like we'd go to a conference, so 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night. There's going to be a conference throughout the day on a live webinar inviting special guests, agents from around Australia, top performing agents, as well as some guests from overseas, including Dr. Eric Thomas, one of the most, the world's most in-demand, positive, motivational speaker at the moment. Glenn's got him on a segment, but he's also going to feature Jared Willis from Richardson&Wrench Real Estate.
Go Jared.
So Jared Willis, our young gun at Richardson&Wrench Caboolture, is going to be part of the Stay the Course webinar next Thursday. And what perspective Jared's going to give his fellow agents around the country is that he's 24 years old. He is a gun. We love him. But in the last 3 years, he has assisted in over 120 transactions. Now, almost 40 sales a year, a sale every 1 and a bit weeks, over $42 million worth of sales in the last 3 years that Jared's achieved. So he's got something to bring to the table. And if he can bring his enthusiasm, his energy, and how a 24-year-old sale agent is going to get through this, it's great that he's on that platform. But for our fellow agents out there, as I said in the beginning, we have a good relationship, our long-term in business. We do have a good relationship with local agents, and I suggest my fellow agents jump on that webinar next week and see what you can do to get through and stay the course for COVID-19. So,
can everyone tell that my brother's passionate about sales and real estate? I'm going to stop him because otherwise he could talk, and he talks figures, and that's what sales are all about. And between the two of us, there is the personal side and there's a figure side, and we both have to have an understanding of each. And that's what's really important to us and all of our staff. We've got an amazing mix of people that can answer your questions. If they don't know the answer, they'll find out the answer. Today was all about us just reaching out and saying to you, if you need to ask or you need some help and you're not sure where to look, reach out to us. Property management's my specialty, sales is Scott's specialty. Between the two of us, one of us will be able to help. And it was just a way for us to reach out a different form of communication through social media.
For those that tuned in, thank you for sitting with us live. I think we're at about the 35-minute mark, so I think that's enough for now.
talk.
We'll splice this up and produce it for an on-demand video through our platforms and through our website. We have got a slide there, Q&A. I have been watching the live feed. No questions as such. A lot of support from various people when we look at the names there on my phone. Thanks for for tuning in and supporting our message. But again, from Scott Lackman, Principal Licensee, Karen George, Property Management Director, back to basics. We are here to help, to serve you, our clients and our community. Any questions whatsoever, reach out, email, website, and we'll try to assist. But that's our official COVID-19 update.
Look after each other.
Yep.
Reach out to people, communicate still. If social media is not your thing and someone else is, direct them to the right places. I think we really have to make sure we're caring for each other and speaking to each other and asking the question, are you okay?
Yep.
And can I help in any way? And that's what today was all about.
Okay, jump on our website, 4510.com.au, and as soon as we know any further updates next week or preceding weeks.
Watch the 22nd of April, Queensland Government.
That will be interesting what the legislation changes really affect us,
yes.
And if necessary, we'll give you another update to our immediate clients of how we can continue working through that to best serve you. So thanks, Kaz, and thanks to our equipment people, TrueAU.news, our supporters for long-time supporters, 6 years or so now. They've been a great supporter of our business and helping us with these productions.
Another community business.
So thanks to TrueAU.news, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
It's like we're losing all track of time. I just got one thing on my mind. Baby, one